This story starts in a police station, but it's not about the police. It's about what happens when a system designed to protect does the opposite. A woman's trying to report a crime, a rape. But the questions she's being asked aren't about justice. They're accusations. Are you sure? What were you doing there? Think about your family's honor. Her trauma is being systematically erased. She's being told, without the words being said, to be silent. This isn't a rare scene, it's a blueprint. Every 16 minutes, a woman in India is raped. Just take a moment to fully comprehend it. It's a shocking reality that plays out almost 90 times every single day, and yet, somehow, nobody's really talking about it. This is one of the world's largest democracies, home to 1.4 billion people, yet it harbors one of the most underreported and underaddressed crises that India is suffering from. This video isn't just about some simple statistics or a rundown of some numbers. It's about the survivors, the failures, the systems. Why, despite legal reforms, protests, and media attention, India's rape epidemic just won't go away, and why it needs desperate attention to help create a safer future for the next generation of Indian women. Now, this isn't some sort of attack on India. I don't have some ulterior motives. I'm well aware that this is a very heavy topic and a massive social issue. I just want to shine a brighter light than what is already being shown. I know a lot of Indian citizens who are aware of this crisis are horrified by it. I know they want the authorities to immediately crack down and want the media to highlight this issue further. Because the truth is, there may be a lot of people who might not even be aware that things are this bad. So I hope I can, in my own very small way, help in highlighting this so that more and more people can become aware. So please, just try to watch with an open mind. That's all I ask. So why the silence? To understand it, you have to understand a single powerful concept: Izzat. In the West, it would be known as honor. Honor has been an unshakable tenet in Indian culture for centuries and continues to be. In many parts of India, a family's honor is believed to reside in its women. Her purity is not her own. It's a public commodity. So when she's raped, the shame isn't on the attacker, it's on her. She's not a victim who needs justice, she's seen as a source of disgrace. This is why families will go to unimaginable lengths to hide an assault. Reporting it means facing social isolation. It means a daughter might never marry. So they choose silence. It's a devastating choice, but in this context, it feels like the only one. But even if a survivor breaks that silence, she hits a wall. The police. Their job is to file a first information report, or FIR, the critical first step for any investigation. But that's often the first place justice fails. Officers delay. They intimidate. They blame the victim, or they push for an illegal compromise with the attacker's family. Sometimes it's bias. Other times it's corruption. The culture of victim blaming is everywhere. You can hear it from a trial defense lawyer in the Oscar-nominated documentary To Kill a Tiger, who said on camera what millions believe. A boy will only be naughty if a girl encourages him. This isn't a fringe opinion, it's the default setting. It explains why a woman's clothes, her character, her very right to be in a public space are put on trial, and the results speaks for itself. According to the National Crime Records Bureau, or NCRB, 31,516 cases of rape were officially reported in India in 2022. That breaks down to roughly 86 rape cases per day. But to understand how deep this crisis goes, let's rewind a little. Between 2012 and 2022, India never reported fewer than 30,000 rapes in a single year. In fact, 2016 saw the number peak at 38,947 cases. And since then, Despite legal reforms, media attention, and nationwide protests, that figure has barely budged. For context, these numbers represent only the reported cases, those that made it past stigma, shame, police hesitation, and systemic apathy. And that's where things become truly alarming. Multiple independent studies, including those by the World Health Organization, Human Rights Watch, and Indian NGOs like Breakthrough, estimate that only 1 to 10% of sexual assaults in India are ever reported to the police. Even official government panels have acknowledged massive underreporting. So what does that mean? It means the real number of rapes occurring annually in India is likely not in the tens of thousands, but possibly in the millions. And there's another deeply disturbing pattern. In over 96% of these reported cases, the perpetrator wasn't a stranger. It wasn't somebody jumping out of the shadows. It was someone the victim knew. A relative, a friend, a neighbor, a colleague. Sometimes even a partner or spouse. This shatters the popular myth that rape is primarily a crime of strangers. In India, rape is a crime of proximity. A crime embedded in familiarity, in family dinners, in school bus rides, in workplaces, in dormitories, in marriages. And it's this closeness that often silences victims the most. The numbers themselves don't just tell a story of frequency. They tell a story of systemic social failure. Despite growing urbanization, a booming digital ecosystem, and the rise of women in education and the workforce, India remains a country where sexual violence is both rampant and relentlessly silenced. And the gap between actual and reported cases isn't just a statistical error. It's a signal. A blinking red light that something is deeply, dangerously broken in how Indian society protects, hears, and responds to its women. And for those 31,516 who did report it, imagine how many more never did. When we talk about sexual violence in India, we often imagine a distant, hidden problem. But look closer, and you'll see the truth. The face of this crisis is young. These are college students, doctors, women on their way to work, people just trying to live their lives in what should be the most empowering years of their journey. In 2023, at IIT BHU, one of India's top engineering schools, a 22-year-old student was gang raped on campus. Students protested for weeks, demanding answers, demanding action. The university? Delayed. The trial? Still dragging on. Then, in August 2024, a tragedy that shook the entire country. A 31-year-old trainee doctor was raped and murdered inside RG Kar Medical College Hospital in Kolkata. She had just finished a 36-hour shift. She was found dead in a seminar room, bruised, bleeding, and alone. The accused was a 33-year-old civic volunteer named Sanjay Roy, someone who had hospital access. He was found guilty in January 2025 and sentenced to life in prison. And the only reason this case moved fast? It was on every news channel. National and international media forced the system to respond. But here's what you don't see on the front page. In 2022, 2/3 of all rape victims in India were between 18 and 30. In Goa, the majority of victims were minors, 76% to be exact. In Himachal Pradesh, 60% of survivors were under 18. And in 99% of those cases, the attacker wasn't a stranger. It was someone they knew. This tells us something very clear. These attacks aren't just happening in dark alleys. They're happening in homes, in schools, in hospitals, places that should feel safe. And that's the deeper issue. This isn't just a crime problem. It's not just about law and order. Sexual violence in India is part of something bigger. It's rooted in old beliefs about gender, in patriarchy, and in a system that keeps failing the people it's supposed to protect. These are not isolated cases. They are symptoms of a crisis, one that demands way more than headlines. It demands change. Sexual violence isn't isolated to one region, but some states are consistently at the top of the list. In 2022, Rajasthan reported the highest number of rape cases, 5,399. Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh followed. Delhi recorded over 1,200 rape cases, despite being the most policed city in the country. Its courts? Still only 4.3% conviction. Goa reported the highest proportion of minor victims, 76%. Himachal Pradesh revealed that 99% of reported rapes, the attacker was known to the survivor. What's alarming is the uniformity of this problem across rural and urban areas. Whether in megacities or villages, whether among the poor or the privileged, the risk is real. But marginalization, poverty, and caste disparities only amplify the silence. Inequality isn't just a social issue, it's a vulnerability multiplier. So why are conviction rates so abysmally low? There's no single answer. There are many. First, the burden of proof is high. In the absence of physical evidence, often destroyed, mishandled, or ignored, courts hesitate. Second, victim blaming remains rampant. Survivors are grilled about their clothing, their past, their behavior, turning the trial into an inquisition of the victim rather than the accused. Third, police investigations are weak. Officers lack gender sensitivity training, proper forensic tools, and often resist even filing an FIR unless public pressure is applied. Fourth, legal representation is uneven. Public defenders are overworked, underpaid, and sometimes ill-prepared to handle complex gender-based violence cases. And finally, caste, class, and political power tip the scales. If the accused is wealthy or influential, intimidation, bribery, and interference are common. A Ministry of Statistics report revealed that only 2.56% of rape trial cases ended in conviction, and just 0.92% for attempted rape. Compare that to the national conviction rate for other crimes, 64.3%. That discrepancy tells its own story. But this isn't just a story of violence, it's also one of resistance. Here's the thing about statistics. They flatten real life into numbers. And after a while, the headlines, the data, the horror, they just stop registering. So let's drop the stats for a second and focus on a single human being. Meet Ranjit. Ranjit is a farmer in Jharkhand, a place that, by almost any economic measure, is one of India's poorest states. He lived a quiet life. Then, in 2019, everything changed. His 13-year-old daughter, Kiran, was gang raped by 3 men from their village. And what happened next? It's like the entire broken system compressed into one story. The village elders had their solution. It wasn't justice. It was tradition, tied up in shame and the idea of honor. They told Ranjit, marry your daughter to one of her rapists. That's how things are done. Problem solved, at least for them. When he refused, the whole village turned. His family became outcasts, punished for their refusal to protect the status quo. Now, this is usually the part where people give up. The pressure is unbearable, and the system counts on that. Silence, shame, move on. But Ranjit did something quietly revolutionary. He stood by his daughter, no matter what it cost. What followed was a slog. A years-long battle against a legal system not built for people like them. There were threats, isolation. But Ranjit just kept showing up. With the help of activists from the Srijan Foundation, he navigated hearings, courtrooms, and paperwork. Every narrative that society tried to load onto his daughter, that she should be ashamed that her life was now worth less, Ranjit refused to carry it. It's like he took that shame, stamped it, returned to sender, and sent it right back. In the end, Ranjit won. After years of fighting, his daughter's attackers were convicted. It was a legal victory, but really it was about more than that. It was a rebellion against a whole system. A flash of hope. Ranjit showed that a girl's life can be worth more than a village's honor. And that's something you don't see in the statistics. Or the students of Kolkata who took to the streets after the doctor's murder, demanding that hospitals become safe zones, not danger zones. Then there's the Red Brigade Trust in Lucknow. It was founded by survivors like Kiran. It teaches self-defense, legal literacy, and survivor solidarity. Since 2011, it's empowered thousands of schoolgirls to fight back against attackers and against shame. Survivors are no longer just victims. They are leaders, and they're rewriting the script. So what's working? What gives us hope? India has established over 750 fast-track courts to expedite rape cases. That's a start. But with over 200,000 cases still pending, the system remains clogged. Technological interventions are helping. In Delhi and Andhra Pradesh, improvements in street lighting, surveillance, and emergency response apps have contributed to a 10% drop in reported sexual assaults. One-stop crisis centers now exist in many states, offering medical care, counseling, legal aid, and shelter under one roof. These are funded by the Nirbhaya Fund, which has dispersed over 1,000 crores so far. But the most effective solutions are community-driven. NGOs, students, artists, and educators are pushing for consent education in schools, police reform, and societal introspection. Hope lies in Kiran, who now wants to become a police officer to help others. It lies in her father, Ranjit, who proved one person can expose a rotten structure. Real change isn't coming from the top. It's being built from the bottom up, like the slow, powerful roots of a tree that can eventually break through concrete. We've walked through the anatomy of a crisis built on violence and systemic silence. It's easy to feel helpless, but helplessness is what the silence feeds on. The first step is to refuse to be silent. Share this video, break the taboo, educate yourself and others. Look up the work of organizations on the ground like the Srijan Foundation in Jharkhand, which helped Ranjit's family. Support the Stand With Her campaign and start conversations. Challenge the idea that a family's honor is more important than a woman's life. India's rape crisis is a national tragedy, but it is not permanent. It was built by prejudice, and it can be dismantled by courage and collective action. As One Father's Fight showed the world, change doesn't start with a new law. It starts with a choice to see, the choice to speak, and the choice to stand with her.